Sometimes the most powerful voices emerge when the world is dark and unstable. Isaiah was born in a time when God's people were divided. Israel stood in the north, Judah in the south, and both kingdoms faced threats, injustice, and idolatry. From a young age, Isaiah observed the rising wealth of cities, the strength of armies, and the prosperity of kings, but beneath the surface, he saw corruption, oppression, and a people turning from God. During the reign of King Uzziah, Isaiah entered the temple and saw the Lord high and exalted on a magnificent throne. The temple trembled under the weight of God's glory. Seraphim hovered with 6 wings, calling out, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory." Isaiah's heart was overwhelmed. He became aware of his own sinfulness and the sinfulness of the people around him. But a seraph touched his lips with a burning coal, cleansing him and preparing him for God's mission. He was chosen to be God's messenger, to speak the truth to kings, priests, and ordinary people. Isaiah's ministry began in a world of injustice and idolatry. People worshipped statues and false gods, while the poor were exploited by the rich. Kings and advisors sought protection from powerful nations instead of trusting in God. Despite the looming threat of Assyria, Isaiah proclaimed that true security lay only in God. His messages warned of the consequences of turning away from God, but also offered hope for those who would remain faithful. Isaiah conveyed God's judgment through powerful imagery. The people of Judah were compared to a vineyard that yielded sour grapes despite God's care. He warned that rebellion and sin would bring devastation, yet a faithful remnant would survive. He also shared visions of hope. From Jesse's line would come a branch filled with wisdom and justice. Lions and lambs would live together in peace, swords would become plowshares, and nations would turn to God. Isaiah's prophecies extended beyond Judah. God's sovereignty encompassed all nations. Babylon, Egypt, Tyre, and others were held accountable. Even in judgment, God's ultimate goal was restoration and redemption. Isaiah foresaw the coming of a suffering servant who would bear the sins of many, bringing healing and forgiveness. This prophecy pointed to the Messiah, who would fulfill God's plan for redemption. He also revealed the future glory of God's people. Deserts would bloom, Jerusalem would be restored, and a new heaven and a new earth would rise. God's promise extended beyond immediate relief. It was a vision of eternal joy, justice, and peace for all creation. Isaiah's life teaches unwavering faith, courage, and obedience. Despite opposition from kings, false prophets, and rebellious people, he remained steadfast. God's plans were greater than any human alliance, political scheme, or earthly empire. Even in exile and suffering, God's restoration was certain. The faithful would witness God's promises fulfilled. A world transformed, sins forgiven, tears wiped away, and life renewed. Isaiah's prophetic vision calls all generations to trust in God, act justly, and embrace hope. Isaiah's prophecies remind us that God's justice, mercy, and power endure forever. Even when the world seems dark, God's plan is at work, bringing restoration and hope. Trust in God. Speak truth boldly. Persevere in faith. Let Isaiah's courage inspire your life. Share this story, subscribe, and continue exploring the timeless wisdom of God's Word.